Gary here. Saturday morning, normally do my blog, and been doing that regularly for the last few weeks, so I decided to do a video blog today, see how it goes. It reminded me of like 25 something years ago. We were in training college in 303 Royal Parade, learning how to become officers, and in our preaching class they used to pull out the old VHS videos and record us so that we could critique ourselves. Those were interesting days, let me tell you. But here we are 25 years on, and we can do this on a phone, we can do it on a digital camera, we edit it on computers, we are getting so used to being in front of cameras at the moment because of the lockdown that life has changed so much. And who would have thought that 24 or 5 years ago that the world would be like it is today. So I was reflecting this morning and I thought, well, here we are, just over a month in lockdown, a few more weeks to go yet, I suspect, and a few things have changed. I wonder if things have changed for you. Certainly things have changed for me, and in the purpose of my blog is not just to share what the heck's going on in my life, but also maybe to challenge you to think about yours. The worst thing that could happen with the lockdown is for us to miss opportunities, to miss what God might be saying, to miss what new things we can put into our lives and what things we can drop out of our lives. So some of the things that have changed for me, well, and for you, you know, words around us are things around us in the world. There's new words and words that have been used far more in this last couple of months than we've ever heard. You know, like flattened the curve, unprecedented, lockdown, social distancing. All those kind of words are words that weren't really that well used previous to the last few months. For me, personally, I find a renewed personal prayer life, and I just love what God's doing in my heart as a result of that. I'm on online prayer meetings with various people these days. Even felt compelled by God to do that myself, to host online prayer meetings, and I'm pretty keen about getting together with people to pray. And I guess I question about whether or not we'll still be able to do that after everything goes back to whatever normal is. And I pray that it does, because, you know, it occurred to me this week that in some instances we may not travel to a prayer meeting, whereas we can easily sit online and pray together, and it's just as meaningful and God still hears us. So yeah, my personal prayer life has been renewed and changed. I've read 7 books in 2 months, and that's one of my goals, not to read 7 books in 2 months. Actually, my goal was, I think, to read 1 book a month. And so I've read 7 in the last 2 months, and I'm quite pleased with myself for that, because the reading is good. They're not all Christian books. Some of them are just novels that lets my brain rest from text and Christian leadership text. So it's been really helpful for me. My thoughts have become clearer. I feel like I have a renewed vision for who I am and who I want to be moving forward. I'm absolutely pumped about how closer I'm getting with God. I don't know how you feel about that for your life, but for me, I feel like I'm in a really good place with God. Does it mean I'm perfect? No way, not a chance. Do I fail? Yep, probably, you know, most days I fail, but the relationship I have with God is stronger now than it's been for a long time, and I put that down to the fact that I've got opportunity and time to be with Him. It's pretty awesome. One of the other things that's changed is that I've been using an app called Lectio 365, and the Lectio 365 app is it's like an app to help you with your quiet time. And this morning in Lectio 3 in the app, the story of Luke 18 was used, and I just want to share it with you this morning. And I'm going to read it from the Message from my phone. And this is the story of the persistent widow. It is. Jesus told them a story showing that it was necessary for them to pray consistently and never quit. He said there was once a judge in some city who never gave God a thought and cared nothing for people. A widow in that city kept after him. My rights are being violated. Protect me. He never gave her the time of day, but after this went on and on, he said to himself, I care nothing what God thinks, even less what people think, but because this widow won't quit badgering me, I better do something and see that she gets justice, otherwise I'm going to end up beaten black and blue by her pounding. Then the master said, do you hear what that judge, corrupt as he is saying? So what makes you think that God won't step in and work justice for his chosen people who continue to cry out for help? Won't he stick up for them? I assure you he will. He'll not drag his feet, but how much of that kind of persistent faith will the Son of Man find on the earth when he returns? It's such a great passage of scripture to remind us to keep praying and don't stop praying. And for me, it's the absolute key of life. I just don't get why Christians won't pray, or I guess they do pray. We all do pray at home, but why we won't gather together with a united force in a prayer meeting and pray? I don't get it. I don't understand that. Now, you don't have to agree with me. I'm sure that some won't. But for me, when Jesus tells us that we should pray without ceasing, that's a big call. That's a tough call. But it's also the one that'll give us a changed life. It's also the one that'll, if we're badgering Christians to God at the throne, the text kind of tells us, is God not going to hear that and do something about that? Well, I believe so. So I don't know what's going on for you in the middle of lockdown, in the middle of quarantine, but I do know this, that God is with you. He's with us all the time, wherever we are. He's a faithful God. He loves us, and I don't know what I'd do without him. So that's my Saturday morning thought, I guess, for this 2nd of May. Who would have thought, that after, the first 5 months of 2020, that we would have been through bushfires, the worst bushfires we've ever seen, floods, drought, and now this pandemic, which has messed up the whole world. And yet, I still remain optimistic that the best is still yet to come. Because if this is as good as it is, we're in trouble, aren't we? But I think the best is yet to come. That our lives are about Jesus, and they can be more about Jesus the more we spend time with him in prayer. Well, bless you today. Stay safe. Look after yourself. Rest up. Because there's good days and exciting days coming. And God bless you. Thanks for watching.